Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rory Kelly. I'm from a company called MRK Live. Uh, I've been working in live music for the last 10 years, contrary to my very youthful face. Um, Recently moved to the Middle East a couple of years ago, and basically, what we've been doing here is trying to reimagine how not only gigs are running, festivals are running, but then actually do learnings right across different cultures and different territories as to what gigs are and what music means to people. And today I'm going to talk about that kind of piece where how innovation is affecting that, but then also how creativity plays such a key role. So, show of hands, who here has ever used a CD? Okay. Who here has ever used a cassette tape? Okay. So, there's a few notable things about that question. Who here now has ever used Spotify? Who here uses YouTube? Who here uses Apple Music? Who here accesses music at the touch of their fingertips? There we go. What that tells you already is how far music has come in the last 10 to 15 years, how important streaming, how important the likes of visual identity, the likes of short form content has become in terms of music. I remember whenever I was about 7 or 8, I bought my first ever CD, and I remember the thrill of it. But I also remember every single word of every single song because that was the only CD that I owned, and that was the only CD that I got to play over and over and over and over again until I bought a new one. Already, I'm experiencing something in my mid 30s where I'm looking at it saying, wow, I am out of touch with music now in terms of how it's consumed. And I think that whenever you see that, and whenever you see the likes of YouTube and Spotify, how prominent they've become not only in artist approaches, but also in terms of how operators and promoters like myself, like how we treat music and how we treat the music business, I think it becomes really, really apparent there that innovation has really, really played a key role in the consumption. So whenever you look at it, I'm going to give you an example. Um, in the 90s, a lot of the audience here will think of that as the ancient times. But in the 90s, if you sold 1 million records, 1 million records, do you know how much you would probably earn from that? About $1 million. Nowadays, if you get 1 million streams, do you know how much you get? Roughly? About $400. $400 for 1 million streams. Imagine you released a song and you worked so hard and you put your blood and your sweat and your tears and your creativity and everything into it. And you woke up in the morning after you release it and it's at 1 million streams. You would run into your parents and you go, I'm a millionaire, I'm delighted, yes. And then you'd look at it and you'd say, oh, well, we've made like $400. And that's okay. And that's where we are as a music industry. And there are pros to that and there are cons to that. The pros to that are that you can reach wider audiences. You can go on Spotify right now, you can type in any artist, any song, any album, accessed straight away. But the beauty of it all then is that the artists, whilst they're trading in their accessibility, they're trading it against what historically their income would have come from. My reason being here today is not to slam things like Spotify or slam things like TikTok, because TikTok does a lot of good. It does a lot of good for artists. It does a lot of good in terms of promoting artists, kind of getting new artists out there. The likes of Megan Thee Stallion got huge on TikTok. The likes of Billie Eilish had a whole back catalogue of music available on YouTube before she even released a song. It's an amazing platform, but it's one where artists now have to almost lean towards and lean into whenever they're thinking of how they can actually get their music to reach people. It's not the value of your song anymore. It's not the words you put behind it. It's not the meaning and the emotion and the connection that means so much in your music anymore. It's about often how sellable it can be and how reachable it can be to people. So in terms of that innovation piece, you're seeing a lot of people now shifting their focus from actual generic, or not from generic, but from original and from meaning and connection, and you're shifting it from what a song used to be about to what it now needs to be about in terms of engagement. Engagement is key. But what I'm here talking about is how we can blend the new and the old to make something. And that something is something that you'll never lose connection with. You'll never lose the emotion behind. You'll never lose the excitement of. How many people have gone to a concert? I know for one, there's no better feeling than being at a concert whenever you are watching your favorite artist on a stage. You're getting every single moment of that. What does that come from? It comes from consumption of how you listen to your artist, what that means to you, what ultimately what their music means to you. There's one thing about the innovation side to live music is that it can never be replaced. It can never be replaced. You know, there was like a few years ago, Coachella had a hologram of Tupac. It was a hologram, right? You look at how they build their lineups. They build the biggest artists in the world to put it on the most memorable show, because whether you're playing to 100 people or you're playing to 100,000 people, that can never be replaced. So everything that leads into that, yes, that will shift. That will continue to evolve. That will continue to be determined by what communities are built by artists. Who's the biggest artist in the world right now? And I'd say there's a few fans. I thought Taylor Swift, biggest artist in the world. Taylor Swift could release an album of silence tomorrow morning and it could go straight to #1. Why is that? It's because she built a community. She built a community of people that are loyal. And that is no different to the way Elvis used to sell music back in the day. He had an audience, he had a loyal community that would purchase his records, that would attend his shows. That is what music is all about. That is what music will continue to be defined by, is the people that are listening and that are consuming and that are actually buying music and accessing music. Be that if it's on a CD, be that if it's on a streaming platform. Whenever I leave here today, everybody will at some point in the next day or two listen to something. They'll listen to a song. They'll hear something on the radio. They'll hear something on TikTok. They'll see something on Instagram. What that will continue to be defined by is your emotion that connects you to it. What do you like? What's your preferences? Everything else. What you'll never ever lose is the actual feeling of actually being at a gig. What will continue to evolve will be how you consume the music before that step. Thank you for listening, and I hope you continue to enjoy music, be it on a CD, be it on a cassette, be it on a streaming platform. Thank you.